Welcome to the Sip and Sow podcast. Well, thanks for welcoming me here on the farm. Tell everyone a little bit about what you do, who you are and what you do.
I'm Imogen and this is Toby and we are Mulberries UK.
We're propagators of soft fruit plants. We grow strawberries, raspberries, blackcurrants, red white currants and gooseberries as the plants to sell on to commercial and the amateur market to plant and grow fruit from.
Wow. And how big is the farm that you've got here?
We rent everything we are on at the moment.
Yeah.
We rent between 25 and 30 acres.
Wow.
Not all cropped, but due to rotations it works well to rent that much and keep moving stuff around.
So you guys are purely growing the fruits but for the plants, not for the actual fruits, right?
This year we have made a new field which is going to purely be for the fruit.
Oh, okay.
But obviously being the first year it hasn't had a great year.
Yeah.
But next year will be hopefully
Established plants.
very good.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are moving into that domain but it's not our main area.
So tell me about the journey and how that started, what you started, why did you decide to start doing it, and how has it got to that point now where you're starting to do those new things?
So your dad has done it for over 3 decades as a commercial side, and then last couple of years we've kind of been toying with the idea of getting involved in some way, and we had a friend that was pushing us to do it and saying if we didn't do it she was going to buy them off your dad and do it, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And then I think really last year, having had our son, we decided that we would take a leap of faith and give it a go.
Like the lifestyle, I had a good childhood
Yeah.
being brought up on the fields and
Wanted similar for our family.
yeah.
And then literally I had an idea of what I wanted. So we came up with Mulberries, our surname is More.
Clever.
So Mulberries. And then I had an idea of what I wanted the logo to look like, and my best friend's very creative, so I was like, please can you create this? So like the very first picture on our social media is like the original, and then obviously we had to get it digitalised for printing and things like that. Yeah.
And what got you both into growing and gardening in that sense, growing stuff, and is that in your family you mentioned?
So for me, Grandad was a manager of a soft fruit farm. Dad then started his own, so it's all I've ever known, sort of thing.
Poached your granddad.
Yeah, poached my granddad, and
Wow.
when they were closing down, selling their farm, and Dad saw an opportunity, which is why he started, and it's all I've ever known, sort of thing. And you're from a family of keen gardeners, aren't you?
Yeah, I would say that you are very into growing like fruit and veg, aren't you? And like through seeing your dad on the field and like his knowledge has then got me into growing it, because I'm like, oh, that's very fascinating, and that side. So I was more of the pretty flowers and our own garden, and you were always like, let's get an allotment and let's do this. And
Our garden's always been a bit of a fight between
which
how much is going to be growing fruit and vegetables and how much is going to be flowers. We're always sort of like trying to get more off of each other to grow the other stuff, but
we do now have an allotment as well, don't we?
yeah.
Because obviously you need a bit more growing space and a bit more to do.
Yeah, just keep us extra busy. So
Wow.
you should have swapped.
Instead of my cream
Although it has been hot.
shorts, I should really have come wearing my...
Fancy, don't they?
Yeah, have a look. These are my gardening trousers. You can see they're actually mucky because I have been at the allotment with them.
Well, you've got to use them.
But
Good pockets.
yes, the thing that Genus is most famous for is their pockets.
Yeah.
But also these ones are stab proof, so you can put your secateurs or your knife in there and without them stabbing you.
That's
They've got knee pads built in. These are the smaller knee pads, but you can put the thicker ones in. These are waterproof as well on the knees and the back panel, so you can sit down on a wet bench or anything
really
like that.
Haven't they?
They really have thought of everything. So yeah, maybe these are your next purchase.
Yeah.
Work trousers.
Yeah, they're
Definitely.
perfect.
They're
So they're
so
basically
smart.
made by gardeners for gardeners, so that for people, especially like you guys, who are out here going to be like wanting to wear them every day, they're really tough and resilient. Yes, the fabric they're made of is made so like they basically just don't wear out, no matter how much you're kind of on your knees, bending down all the time, and that sort of thing.
You can test that out.
Yeah, exactly. You'll have to test them out.
Run.
Yeah, exactly.
Fabulous.
And if anyone wants to find out more, then there are more details in the notes of the podcast because Genus is one of our sponsors.
Fab.
But yeah, I'll have to let you have a proper look in a minute.
That'd be great.
Yeah, you'll be adding these to your wardrobe,
we'll be
I'm sure.
At them, you'll be nicking the strawberries.
Exactly. Soft fruit then. Soft fruit's the focus. How many different fruits do you have? How many different varieties are you growing now?
There's 56 different varieties across everything.
Wow.
19 of them being the strawberries. So our strawberries is our main focus, really. The varieties are everything from good for a pick your own to good for jam. The different varieties for supermarket shelves. So yeah, there's a big mix on the strawberries.
Wow. I think people don't realise how many different sort of layers, processes, people that the things that they buy from a garden centre or a supermarket go through before they get to that end, especially for plants, because most of the audience listening and watching will be people that love buying plants from nurseries and everything, and even at the shows, but they go through so many different people and stages along the way, just like you guys with the strawberries, I guess. And like you said, by the time they get to the garden centre and someone buys them, they've been probably through 2 or 3 people. They might have been forgot to be watered or potted on properly, whereas you can buy them direct from you and cut out the middleman.
We've also found, haven't we, the amount of garden centres you go in and you see plants that we grow, that not just us, we've got people that we work with that grow plants in the UK. You go into the garden centres and so much of it's imported, and we sort of thought, there's growers growing it in the UK here. It's not travelled across the ocean to get here. It's
acclimatised, isn't it, as well, though?
Less carbon footprint because it's come from the country that you're in. Yeah. So lots of
little elements that kind of built up that bigger picture and sort of spurred us on to keep going with it. And you have those days sometimes where things aren't going as well and it's really wet and you're like, oh, don't want to do this.
The challenges of British farming.
Because you got really behind, didn't you, on weeding this year, because we've had so many wet days. You're hoeing them out, and then because it's so wet they're then just re-rooting, and you're like, what have I just spent?
So we just didn't go to work during the wet days, and we lost
a lot of days.
20 odd days of work.
So then when you came back they were even bigger, weren't they, and even more in there.
Even more deeply rooted.
And then the sun's come out and they've
gone mad.
Gone mad.
I know, it has been a very odd season, hasn't
really
it? I'm sure for you guys, especially when you're trying to grow the product, it must make it really hard. How have you found, well, you're probably used to it, from years with the family business and stuff, but how do you ever get used to the seasons and the challenges that brings?
I don't think you do. I know this time of year through to October, Dad starts getting very quiet because
he's worrying and
he worries of,
is it going to be all right?
Is the weather going to be on our side or not? But you can worry all you want, and then it always comes right in the end, and you can't change the outcome either. So you just have to run with it and
work
see
with
what happens.
It's quite a hard one, I guess, because for most businesses there's obviously stuff that can go wrong and stuff that can, lots of variables, but the biggest thing as a farmer that you rely on is the weather, and you can't control that at all, really. So you kind of have to see what happens and go with it, I guess, and be ready to react.
If we have a bad year for the plants growing, we don't get inundated with weeds because they haven't grown, and if we have a good year for the plants to grow, the weeds also grow really well, and whatever you have, there's a challenge. So we just
slightly different.
You just have to deal with it and carry on.
And is there any so you grow everything here? Do you get out in the open? There's nothing undercover or anything like that? And is that because there's no benefit in growing undercover soft fruit?
There is on other varieties. If you were doing blackberries and stuff like that, they're quite often better to grow in pots, but how we grow and the manpower and
Yeah.
the sort of not being too labour intensive, this works for us.
Yeah.
So we've found it so far. Whether that changes,
Yeah.
we decide to
Whether
add elements.
The weather changes again, and you have to adapt again, don't you? So
Yeah, exactly.
touch wood for now, it's working.
Yeah. So tell me about the different strawberry varieties, because before we even started rolling the cameras, we were already talking about the varieties and getting excited.
Yeah.
Why is there so many different varieties, and why do you grow so many different varieties?
Do you want to do this bit? Do you want me to do this bit?
I will say, from my point of view, we do a variety, or lots of different varieties, to extend that fruit in season. So like you were saying that you, I think, had one variety and it's done and dusted.
Had a couple of weeks of strawberries and that's it. Now they're just putting out runners and that's it, no more strawberries. Yeah.
Whereas we sort of try, and so we've got like an all season pack, so you get like an early and a mid and a late, and we'll pick what we have deemed.
Oh, that's in a ready-made pack.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
Hit me up.
It's clever. Yeah, I will.
Yeah, so then that sort of, obviously the seasons still don't help you a little bit, you know, when the sun comes out and it's a small
still going to be variable.
Yeah, but it does help that, you know, extend it very slightly. And then also there's, you know, what do you want to do with your strawberries? Do you want to make jam? Do you want to pick your own? Do you want, I can't think, the supermarkets there, you want, you know, harder skinned ones for transportation side of things.
They're going to last longer.
Exactly.
Now added elements in there because there's older varieties that work really well for field grown strawberries, so the fruit comes right in the middle under the plant, so the leaves shade the fruit, so if you've got pick your own or in your garden, that works really well.
Also keeps the birds away.
Keeps the birds away. But because there's so many grown in tabletop systems now on commercially, they want the fruit to come on long trusses, so there's new varieties that put out long trusses so that you get that fruit that cascades down the side of a pot. So it's depending
there's
on
loads
what
to
you
think
want
about
to do.
actually when you think about it. Yeah,
you think it's just a strawberry, don't you?
I know, now you've really got me thinking, what do I want my strawberries for and what do I want to do with them? A lot of this that you grow here is almost self-producing in terms of plants, but have you ever grown strawberries or anything like that from seed?
I haven't.
No.
Have you ever in your fruit sort of farming history can you grow much fruit from seed and that? So, well, strawberries you can, can't you?
You can grow fruit from seed, but you cross-pollinate, which makes new varieties and it makes seeds. So for us, growing from
same
runners,
with flowers, I guess.
Yeah.
You create new varieties. Oh, okay, that's exciting though, because you could potentially create a whole new variety. We were talking about that a minute ago, weren't we?
Have the Tom variety.
Yeah, exactly, and then I can license it to people because it's going to be such a great variety.
Popular.
Oh, well, okay, well, that's an exciting thing to do. Yeah, okay. Well, the reason I ask you that question is because one of our sponsors of the podcast is cauliflowers.co.uk, another Growth Club member actually. So she is a small family-run, just like you guys, seed supplier. So maybe I'll have to have a look what fruit she's got on the website. She's definitely got lots of veg, definitely got lots of flowers. So maybe I'll have to have a look. If not, I'll persuade her to add some strawberries and we can all have a go at making our own new variety.
Have a look on myself.
Yeah.
You always can add flowers.
That could be fun, couldn't it? Yeah. Wow, yeah. So tell me some of your favourite varieties.
I would say my favourite is Sweetheart. I mean, it's a very sweet name. Oh gosh. But also it's nice shape, it's really sweet, and it is a mid-season, so it's, you know, bang in the middle.
Okay.
What about yourself?
Mine's Apple.
It's just so sweet.
Because it's so sweet, it's really soft, it's juicy. You wouldn't want to pick it and transport it anywhere, but to sort of just walk past the plant and pick one off and eat, you couldn't. I don't think you can get a better strawberry.
Okay.
But.
So maybe that's the one for me, because I just want to grow, to pick them, to eat them. They might make it home if they're lucky, but when you've only got one or two plants, you can just pick them off and eat them, and that's a nice allotment treat, isn't it, really?
Definitely.
Okay, so maybe that's the one for me.
There is actually some apple behind you. If
Oh,
you want
really?
to try it.
Oh, okay. Let me have a look.
There is apple, this lower one, and then there's Eros, which is the top one. So if you want, you could
Okay,
taste
so
test.
tell me about each one. So this is apple that you were just talking about. So
Yeah, this is your favourite.
remind me again what are the qualities of this one that you love?
It's sort of quite a good strawberry for making jam. It's soft, juicy, really sweet.
I believe it's a mid-season. Tell me if you don't know.
Right.
There's
You've
a lot
set
to
me up for a
remember,
fail
sorry.
there.
It's hard to remember when there's 19.
It really is sweet.
Yeah. And a healthy treat.
That's really nice. I'm just going to stay here eating
Yeah, I know,
strawberries
he's going to have to hop on
forever.
it.
Wow. Really soft though, like you say.
Yeah, like melts in your mouth, sort of.
Yeah, and but I imagine, like you say, for the supermarkets, this would be a bit too soft.
Yeah.
By the time it's
And
bounced
wouldn't
down the road
last.
in a lorry
Yeah.
upon it, it's
Just got off the field.
Yeah.
It would have bounced a lot, wouldn't it?
And then this variety at the top is, remind me,
Eros.
Eros. So, what's the main qualities of this one?
Oh, you're testing me, Tom.
so we sell that as it's quite a good pick your own. So
Okay.
it will make a big clump of fruit really close into the crown of the plant, but it also makes a really big plant, so there'll be a lot of leaf cover, so you tend to find the birds don't find them as easily because
Yeah.
they're really well hidden. The sun doesn't affect it because you get to this time of year and it's been sunny like it's been. If there's a load of ripe strawberries there, they're like mush by the next day, so it shades it, protects it a bit from the rain if you have a bit too much rain, so it's
They're
it's
quite
just,
big strawberries, aren't they?
yeah,
They're not
nice
small.
size. You can pick up on it quite quickly.
Yeah. Right, let's give this one a go.
It's a very delicate one.
Oh, I really like that.
It's not as sweet as the other one, is
It's
it?
not
I
as
don't
sweet,
think.
but I'd say it's slightly more sort of floral
Yeah.
as well. Definitely tougher.
Yeah.
Which is, what you normally expect
Yeah.
from a supermarket sort of strawberry. I think actually that one I
That one's swinging your
prefer.
boat. Would you say you're a sweet person? You like savoury, or?
I probably do lean more towards savoury. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, fruit is going to be sweet of
Yeah.
some variety, but
not too
maybe
sweet.
this one is a little bit too sweet for
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Versus this one's a little bit, a bit more floral, a bit more punchy. Yeah, maybe that's the one for me. But you've got even more varieties here. I can
Yeah.
see Florence here when they're hanging over the edge of the
Yeah.
pot. So is that a great one to have in a pot or a hanging basket or something similar like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Vibrant is really the main one for that.
I don't
But
know.
the Vibrant is a very early season, so they've been and gone.
Yeah.
Whereas the Florences are really
Still
late,
going.
so you've got two extremes
Okay.
there. That one's not even ripe and one's finished.
Yeah.
Um,
And El Santa is a mid-season again, isn't it?
yeah,
Oh yeah, that's got a couple still to come
Yeah.
there.
But these are like first years, so they're not very established.
Yeah.
Whereas on their second year, they're nice, big, bushy, much more established to
yeah. You tend
produce
to
more.
find the strawberry plant doesn't actually really grow until it's fruited. So
Right.
once they fruit, the plant will then do its growing, and then you'll get the established bush for the second year.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to have to pick your brains then about what. So the second year is better than the first year.
Yeah.
But how many years are they? So people, like my granddad on my allotment, will tell me that after 4 or 5 years they're no good and you should swap them out for a new
Yeah.
plant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the science behind that? What would you guys do?
We say 3 years. Swap a plant out after 3 years. You've got more chance of disease getting in there.
Yeah.
If you've got the plant and it keeps producing runners and you keep that sort of area going, if you get disease in the initial plant, it's
going
constantly
to
spreading
spread.
it through. So we always sort of say plant some strawberries every single year, split your patch into thirds, and then always have a new plant, a 2-year-old plant and a 3-year-old plant, and sort of keep it
Keep rotating them.
rotating. So you've always got established plants and always got fresh plants coming through.
Okay, that's a good tip.
Yeah.
And to make new plants, can you do that from the runners from the existing plants, or would you start from scratch again?
You can do that. It will produce a plant, but disease and stuff can transfer
Yeah.
down easily. So we sort of suggest against it. Our plants are all walked twice a year by DEFRA, check for disease,
Yeah.
anything sort of removed, so you know you've got high health plants again to go in there. But yeah, you lose a bit of quality by keep taking runners.
Yeah.
The way we explain it is that you've got the strawberry plant and it's producing you some strawberries, and then at the same time it will also throw out a runner. Now I don't know if there's one over there so I could show you, but maybe later.
Yeah.
But that then at the same point will be putting energy into that runner as well as the fruit.
Yeah.
So then obviously it's then splitting itself between the two, whereas like for someone like yourself or home growers, I would say take the runner off, so then you get
Concentrates
more,
on the fruit.
more on the fruit, because that's what you want. And then, you know, buy another strawberry plant, let that do the effort, establish, so that you're always having that energy go into the fruit rather than, because really they're not that expensive, a strawberry plant, are they?
No.
I think our bare roots, are they £1 a
pound a plant.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a
So
bargain.
it's not expensive at all. And we usually sell them, do we sell them in 5s or 10s? I can't remember. I think we do both.
Yeah, both.
So then you know, £5, you've got 5
everything,
plants, and then, you know, keep that stock going again, and yeah.
Okay. Wow. I could just sit and talk to you
I
all
know.
day about strawberries. I'm
There's
going to have
so
my
much about
strawberry
it.
patch sorted. But how about we go and have a little wander and
Yeah.
you can show me some of the other things that are growing here in the fields.
Yeah.
And let's see some of this amazing farm that I can see around me.
Get your steps in.
Yeah, exactly.
Lovely.
So here we are in a sea of what looks like red currants, am I right?
Blackcurrants.
Blackcurrants. Oh wow, okay.
Throw you off.
Yeah, you are throwing me off. So tell me all about these. Tell me everything about them.
So we are in the Ben Sarek at the moment. So grow multiple different varieties of blackcurrants. Ben Sarek and Ben Conan are both down this end. Two old sort of varieties, a fairly staple normal variety that is about sort of thing. It's not a fancy modern one.
They're very good producers,
Yeah,
aren't
good-
they?
good
I think one
producers.
produces like, once it's established, it's like £10 of black
Wow,
currants, and
that's
the other
quite
one
good.
is like 60% more growth than most black currants or something. So they're very good traditional ones, aren't they?
Yeah, so these are our 2-year bushes. So these have been grown for a year, trimmed back down, and then regrown till now. Basically, they'll continue to grow till this autumn, and then these will be lifted between now and next spring. That will then be done. What doesn't get sold disappears. Don't send out anything older than 2 year,
Yeah.
and then the next ones will slowly come through into the cycle.
So you don't send them out in the first year. You wait till they're the second year. Why is that?
Get more established root.
Yeah.
We look for the shoots. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but if I pick a plant from here, this one's got 3 shoots at the moment. One of them's not too tall, but that will carry on growing. So we're looking for a bush that's got minimum of 3 shoots. You want it to stand sort of above your knee and be a decent strong shoot. Then basically as a homeowner, when you get the plant and you put it in your garden, you've got a stronger bush. It's going to shoot more, you're going to get a higher yield earlier on. If you bought a 1-year bush, it's going to be a lot smaller. You're then going to have to keep trimming it down and not actually get any fruit of it for a few years
Yeah.
until it becomes established. So we sort of do the hard work of establishing the bush.
Do the
I can't believe that you were just telling me before we pressed record was that you do everything here by hand. So
Yeah.
all of these are planted by hand,
Yeah.
cut by hand. Why? Why do you do that? Why haven't you got some fancy machines to do it all for you?
A lot of the planting machines, because I've come back into the family business more this year, and I sort of tried to modernise my dad to an extent. A lot of the planting machines ask for a longer cutting, so they're designed at planting like trees and that side of things, whereas as of yet I haven't found anything that will do this. The work on them once they're planted we like to do by hand, because you can be careful and actually see what you're doing, whereas a machine can't
just cuts through
check,
all.
it would just
Yeah.
cut everything, whereas we
Yeah.
can actually trim each bush how we want to trim each bush to try and get the quality.
And you were saying it's become quite well known, your plants, for the quality, and
Yeah.
that's because you do it by hand, right?
That's what we believe. Yeah, we
Yeah.
believe because we do it by hand, we're able to put a bit more care into it, and hopefully that means our plants come out better at the end.
Well, like you were saying, you're looking for where you're going to cut and stuff like that, rather than just chopping it all and hoping for the best.
Yeah, trying to leave a few shoots so it bushes out more. We get more side shoots and stronger, healthier plant at the end.
So what happens with these then? So these are 2 year.
Yeah.
So what happens with these at the end of this season?
So we've got a machine that will go through and lift them. That then sort of lifts them and leaves. Yeah. So we go through, shake them, leaves them on the top. We'll then bunch them into bundles of 10 for the commercial market as and when they want them.
And we handpick the best for all berries customers. So you get creme de la creme.
You get the very best if you order direct.
Handpicked,
Yeah, we select the plants basically for our side.
Yeah.
Do you get a chance when you're running such a busy farm here to actually go out and see any of the flower shows over the season?
We haven't recently, but it is something that we would like to give ourselves the break for.
Yeah, exactly. Is there ever a quiet time though?
No. There's always something to do.
Yeah, exactly. But maybe you could squeeze a day, maybe 2, to get to a couple of the shows.
Definitely.
Well, the reason I ask you that is because potentially you could find some time in August maybe and come down to Shrewsbury Flower Show.
Yeah.
They are the headline sponsor of our podcast for this year. I'm going to be doing the podcast live, I'm going to be doing the podcast live.
Yeah.
So maybe you have to come down, have another chat
and
tell everyone there about what you do.
Yeah.
And you can have a couple of days off.
Yeah, exactly.
And away from the farm anyway. And come down and explore everything that the show has to offer.
Yeah, we always like a good day out, don't we?
We like something different to do,
Yeah, exactly. Well, would there still be strawberries growing at that time, or will they have finished in August? 9th and 10th it is.
If the weather stays as hot as it is, it might be going over with spoiling.
Our new variety.
Oh yeah.
Maybe.
Oh yes, your top secret new variety. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, well I'll have to message you and see if you can bring a box or 2 of strawberries down then as well, because,
see what the weather's
need something to keep us going, don't we?
Healthy snack.
Yeah. And when do you then send out the plants? Are they spring job?
So we do bare root, which is from October through to, well, it depends on the weather, but like March, April, ideally.
Yeah, when the plants start throwing leaves back on, we'll stop sending because there's too much of a damage to the plant in transport. So it all depends on the weather to how long we can do it for, but basically while that plant's in its dormancy, we're able to send it out.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. So again, you're beholden to the weather, so even when you can send them out, not just growing them and everything else.
Because a lot of people will cold store them, so some of our competitors will not even necessarily, they might lift them up, you tell me if I'm wrong, but I think they lift them and then they'll straight away go in the cold store, and they can be in there, I don't know how long they can be in the cold store for. We don't really cold store ours.
No, we don't cold store anything. So
but so ours are as fresh as can be. They literally will be lifted, and we get them sent within like 3 days of being lifted, and then hopefully the person on the other end, we advise them to get them in the ground or wherever they want them.
So there's minimum disruption.
On how we've been doing it this year, because we've been new to sending stuff out, and to let us sort of work out the best way, we have a system where we take orders for the week during the week. On a Sunday I come to the field and dig what we need for them orders, then we pack them and put them straight into transport on the Monday. We're now doing either 24 or 48 hour delivery to get the plants there quick, so when people are ordering off us on the Saturday the plant is in the ground, and by the Wednesday it's on the doorstep. So we'd like to think it's about as fresh as you can get. Minimum disturbance to the plant.
Wow, okay, so that's blackcurrants. What's next on the journey around the farm? Where are you going to take me next?
Where should we go? Should we go to the strawberries?
We can go see the strawberries.
Oh yeah, let's go and see the strawberries in situ in the field. You lead the way.
Super.
So here we are in the raspberries now. So what stage are these raspberries at?
So this is certified breeding stock that we've then planted this year. This will grow up this year while we look after it. Its root will spread under the ground, next year, raspberries will start sprouting out on sort of a metre wide bed. That will be the raspberries that we'll then lift to send out to our customers.
Right, okay. So it's not until next year then that you're going to be able to start lifting these?
No, so that will be sort of, they'll start getting lifted October next year. So a fair amount of time of looking after them before anything comes of them.
I think that's one thing that people don't really appreciate. So I mean, we talked earlier about the amount of different stages that plants go to, but also the amount of length of time that they go through before we buy them as a plant that's ready to plant or eat the fruit from. Or, you know, we were talking about tulips earlier and the fact that they take years before we even just buy the bulbs that we think is just like plant for the first time. And it's the same with the fruit that we buy, isn't there, or the fruit plants that we buy. So you know, these are going to take at least 2 years really before anyone sees them and plants them, if not 3 probably, by the time they go out to people.
And then we get 2 years that we can dig raspberries off of that bed for, and then that bed becomes no longer certified, so it disappears. So we put a lot of work in to make a bed and only really get it for a short period of time.
So I guess you've got to have like a bit of a constant rotation going, so that every year you've got something ready to go.
Yeah, we always plant a new bed of raspberries every year, so you've always got one come in, one being used and one on its way out, sort of thing.
Yeah, wow. And what are your top tips then for people growing raspberries? Where do people normally go wrong? People like me on my allotment, what are your top tips for me to get the most fruit off my raspberries?
I would say the thing that we're both probably thinking is that people overwater.
Oh, okay.
They like it dry.
So these raspberries here have done rather well this year. No water. We haven't watered them once. They didn't get watered in.
Okay.
They've had nothing because we've had such a wet year. If your land holds water well,
don't water them.
Don't water them.
And I think you think fruit because you think it's so full of water and so, you know, succulent that you think it needs plenty of water. So yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe that is where I go wrong, because I do think fruit needs. That's the thing I
You're
first
like, I'm gonna
water.
Love you.
Yeah, exactly. But actually, they like a bit of neglect then.
They thrive on it.
Oh,
so
brilliant.
We'd probably say, you know, if you bought bare root from us, that get them, you know, dig a hole where you want them to go, put some water in there, put the plant in, water it in, and leave it. You know.
Yeah,
which
just
is
let
the
it do
hardest
its
bit.
thing.
Unless it's a particularly dry year.
Yeah.
If it's not raining, then but on a year like this year where we've had rain every day for a large period of it until recently, then the plants are getting enough moisture on the ground. If anything, dig a hole near your plant and see how much moisture is in that ground.
Yeah.
If the ground's holding it, then you're not in a position where you need to keep watering them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great tip.
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. So I'm going to have to try again with my raspberries then with these top tips.
Yeah.
I know where to come now at least.
Yeah. Send us a message. We're quite happy to help, and you know, because we want people to enjoy it, and it can be disheartening if you get it wrong, but you know, when you buy from us, we send out a little planting guide.
Oh, brilliant.
So it has like what we'd suggest you do, and then at the bottom it's got some things to consider. You know, when that fruit does start to come, you know, with your strawberries you can straw around and net them or have them in a hanging basket. Just some little top tips that we've sort of learnt along the way and sort of want to share with others so they have the same success.
Oh, brilliant. And you share those sort of things through those guides on your website, but also do you share them on your Instagram as well? You should.
I should. yeah. They are not as visible on there, so that is definitely something I should do. But yes, they will be going on.
I keep poking you to do more on Instagram, you see. Yeah. I've committed you to it now.
That's what we need.
Everyone's going to follow you.
Exactly.
And they'll be waiting for the tips now, so I've signed you up for it. So.
There's always hints and tips, but I need to be better with my guides, getting them.
We'll get you on it.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Super.
Right, let's head back over that way then.
Yeah.
So we were talking about it a minute ago, but this really is a blend of horticulture into agriculture, really, and because it's not just the plants that you're growing, it is farming as well, and all of the challenges that come with that. How have you got used to that over the years? Have you got used to it?
No. Haven't fully.
It's just a constant changing thing you can't predict what's going to happen, what people are going to want, what people want changes all the time, and we just try and adapt and just have to go with the flow, really, don't you?
Yeah, we're at the moment trying to get the knowledge out of my dad, who's been doing it for a lot of years, who is just a encyclopedia of knowledge when it comes to this industry, and
slowly picking that out of him, isn't it? There's too much, it would like overwhelm us if we got it all in one hit, but just absorbing that and going with it.
I think the thing that I wasn't really expecting or never really thought about was how many different rules and regulations you've got to apply to as well, because it is agriculture, not just for yourself. You're not just growing your own strawberry patch here. So you've got to make sure that they're the quality and to the standards. So things like you can't plant too close to each other. You can't have fruiting plants next to the others that are going to be sold on for as the bare roots and stuff like that. So there's lots more to think about than what you would think, isn't there?
No, definitely. And I am going to share more on social media. But
I'm going to be messaging you all the time saying, I want to see more. What's going on now on the farm?
No, definitely. It's just getting that information and sharing it, because I think people would then appreciate, I don't think we're expensive in what we sell, but for what you get, you're getting, expertise and, literally tender loving care from, your hands, and very little machinery is involved, isn't it?
Yeah, and when you buy something off of us, it's not go to the shelf, pick it off and put it in a box. It's coming to the field,
digging it
out of the ground, making sure that one's of quality. So you might dig 5 plants up until you get the ones that you want to send to someone, because some of them might be too small, not the right size. So there's a lot goes into each order that goes out of the door.
We want people to get the best and have that, success, and come back to us and, enjoy it, because that's what we started it for.
And are you glad that you did now? How many years is it now since you made the leap?
So it's a year in a couple of days, I think.
Oh, so it's literally just a year.
Yeah, it really is.
Year for making the business, but months for full time, isn't it? It was only this year that
you made the
gave up my other job to pursue it full time.
And glad that you did, so far anyway.
So far so good,
yeah.
So far so good, and hopefully we've spread the word a little bit further.
Definitely.
So when does the next set of stock go on to? When do we need to be watching the website, basically, so I can make sure I get my fruit before everyone else?
Yeah, I think we haven't actually discussed this, but so bare root starts sort of autumn time, so they'll be starting to be lifted around October
to November, depending on weather.
But I think we're going to do a pre-sale of getting that pre-order.
That's when I can get in first.
So I think that'll probably, I'd say August, September time is probably when we'll get that launched.
And we're going to look at how we want to fully do that this year as well.
Tweak what we learnt from last year and make it easier, because we're currently sending literally from our house. So in our utility and garage, it is chaos.
Right.
And to start with, there was a few grumbly words between us both, very tired from actually doing other jobs at that point, and tired from, getting them off the field. But I think we've got a good little production line now.
Yeah, we've tweaked it and it's got there, hasn't it?
And I think, it was really popular in those final few months. So we're really excited to start the season again.
Yeah. Here you go again. Prepare yourselves now.
Definitely.
Brilliant. Well, I will be watching in anticipation on social media, of course, because then you'll be telling us when they're going to go out.
I will.
And when we can buy them.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely going to order some this year.
Super.
For my allotment. And then you can tell me all of your tips.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for having me. I think I could stay here and ask you millions of questions. I probably still will.
Yeah.
And I'm going to eat all of these strawberries before I go.
Yes.
So thank you very much for having me and
thank
show
you
me
for
around.
having us,
You're very welcome.
We feel a very small business, but we've got a lot to say, and hopefully we're going to get bigger.
Exactly. Well, I started the podcast in the first place was because I wanted to work with small businesses, family businesses, and just people that I really wanted to shine a spotlight on. And having met you guys through social media, and you're part of our growth club as well, I just wanted to show people more. Well, I remember when I was messaging you and I was kind of saying I can't believe what you do and the scale of it, and more people should know about it, and more people should know about what it takes as well to buy the plants that we do, and get the things that we the fruit that we get from our supermarket and things like that. So thank you very much for having me. It's been amazing to see.
And thank goodness it's been a glorious day.
Yeah, we picked the weather back when we booked this months ago.
Honestly.
Yeah, we definitely knew. You should
out, didn't we?
get our podcast schedule up and you'll be fine for the weather. Thank you very much. I'm just going to stay here now and eat all the strawberries if that's okay.
That is fine.
Perfect, great.